In this video, we're gonna do some easy math to get you to your $1 million in the next 12 months. So we're gonna be doing subtraction, addition, and then multiplication. Now, if you are thinking about offering low ticket items, I'm gonna make a case for you on why you wanna consider a medium to high ticket offer to make your first million. I'll share an example from my own experience, and what we'll be talking about is making $1 million in a very specific way. Something that gives you time, location, and creative freedom. So that means you can be here like I am in Bali or wherever your dream location is, and you have fun while doing it, and it doesn't feel like another job. And it's also gonna be a way to do it that requires little to no team, and it's something you can create once and with a couple iterations continue growing and scaling it. So let's get into it. When I made my first million, it took 2 years. And I was sitting in my 1-bedroom apartment in Oakland, California, and I remember my Stripe account crossing $1 million. And the only thing that was important to me in that moment was not the money, but it was the fact that I kept my word to myself. I said I was gonna commit to a practice, and that practice yielded the result I wanted, which just so happened to be $1 million. A couple years ago, I started writing a book that was called I, Millionaire. The secret to having it all is knowing you already do. So trust that I know the most important thing is the identity that we can create anything with our word. Whether that's $1 million, $10 million, or your dream life, you become the person in the process on the other side of that million that knows you can do it. Now, when I made my first $1 million, it took 2 years. And the majority of that million I made in the last 6-month period. So I went from making $10,000 in December to $40,000 in January to $130,000 in February, and then $130K per month became my new floor, up until making $1 million in 1 month. So I did that with a premium offer. It was a $2,000 offer. And because I prioritized a mid-ticket offer and sprinkled in low ticket and high ticket, but because I had that signature offer at the middle level, it made it that much easier to reach my million. So the first step to making $1 million in the next year is subtraction. You want to eliminate the things that are not serving that goal. A great book for this is Essentialism. I used to re-listen to this book every single year. But the first action I want you to take is to do a time and energy audit. And I want you to note that whatever activity you're doing, it could be a $10 per hour activity, a $100 per hour activity, or a $1,000 per hour activity. In order to become the person who is making $1 million in a year, you need to become the person who is spending majority of your time on those $1,000 per hour activities. So it's things that are yielding that $1 million. An example of this could be creating your marketing content, it could be creating your offer, and we're gonna talk about both of those things and not getting caught up in thinking about the little things that are distracting you. So just take the time over the next week, have a spreadsheet open, and every time you're doing something, every 30 minutes, I just want you to write down the task you're working on, and if it's a $10, $100, or $1,000 activity, and by the end of the month, I want you to start eliminating things you don't need to be doing, delegating things that you can give to someone else to do, or recreating things. Maybe there are certain friends where you're like, in this next season where I'm locking in, I'm going to recreate my relationship with that friend and maybe spend a little bit less time with them. The next thing I want you to subtract are old stories that are not serving the $1 million you. So what do I mean by that? You're gonna do a story audit. I want you to write down beliefs that are running your life right now. So for instance, one belief might be, I don't know how to make $1 million. And I want you to write the opposite of that. I am going to make $1 million in this next year, and I'm gonna create the plan to do that. Another might be, every time I start something, I don't stick with it. I never see it through. I'm really bad at follow through. And you wanna rewrite that story on what it looks like to follow through. I'm the type of person who's stepping into her $1 million identity, and what I commit to doing, I'm gonna do. I know that when I keep my word to myself for a year straight, I'm gonna create $1 million, but more importantly, I'm gonna create the $1 million version of me who can create anything she wants. So take a moment and do a story audit over this next week and just pay attention to the thoughts and the beliefs that are coming up. And it could be related directly to making $1 million in your career, but it could also be related to other people in your life, relationships, other self-doubts that are keeping you stuck. So after we've subtracted the things that are no longer serving our $1 million selves and our $1 million year, the second step is addition. We're going to add a premium offer that you can have that will add up to $1 million. Now, why a premium offer? Well, let's just do the math behind $1 million year. That means you need to be making on average $84,000 a month. So there are 1,000,001 ways to make $1 million. Let's look at 3 possibilities that you might be considering. The first is a low ticket offer, the second is a mid ticket offer, and the next is a high ticket offer. So let's say for a low ticket offer, it could be a PDF, a guide, a checklist, even a monthly membership. So the pricing for that could be, let's say on average, $80. So in order to make $1 million in a year, we need to make $84,000 a month. So that means we would need about 1,000 sales per month of that $80 low ticket offer. Now let's look at the next level up. The mid ticket offer could be an online course. And this could be priced at around, let's say, $800. Now at that mid-ticket level at $800, you need about 100 sales per month to reach that $1 million per year run rate. Now let's look at the high ticket. The high ticket offer could be an online course, consulting, coaching, a VIP day. Let's say that the average of this is $8,000 for this offer. So in that case, you just need 10 sales per month to be on track to make $1 million in a year. So my question for you is, are you able to get 1,000 people to buy an offer from you right now? Because that's what you would need at the low ticket level, okay? So if you have an existing major audience, they're really engaged, or you're running ads, then sure, you could get 1,000 sales in a month. Let's go. Maybe you're already doing 800 sales a month and you're like, that's just a little bit of an inch for me to get to. Wonderful. However, for most of us, we're not starting there. And what I want to say is oftentimes, we start with the low ticket. We start with something that's $20 or $40 or $97 because it feels safe. What I want to tell you is that mid ticket and high ticket actually provide more of a safety net for you. There's less margin for error. You need less sales, 10 to 100 sales per month, to meet that $84,000 per month that's going to get you to $1 million in a year. So I'm making a case for the offer you are going to create, that you are going to add, be a mid-ticket to high-ticket offer. Our whole thing here is getting you wired to think like the $1 million version of you. And a great book for this is 10x is easier than 2x. So in the book, they talk about how when you are looking to not just grow linearly, so if you made 50,000 last year or 100,000 last year, we're not looking to just double it to 200,000. We're looking to 10x it to $1 million. So we need to be thinking in terms of 10xing it. And a simple way to do that is, instead of charging $100, having something that's $10,000. So an example of this is when I made my first $1 million, my primary offer was an online course. It was called Course from Scratch. And I was able to get over 300 testimonial videos and over 1,000 people who had successes with this course. It works. It gets people transformations. And at $2,000, it is attracting the right customer that helped me scale to $1 million. Instead of worrying about how am I going to get another 1,000 sales this month for my low ticket monthly membership or low ticket offer. So you might be wondering, how do I create a mid to high ticket offer? So let's talk through it. It all starts with your $1 million story. So I'm going to walk you through my RES framework that's going to uncover your $1 million story. So the R stands for results. What results have you gotten in your life? So different results could be that you increased your credit score from 500 to 800, or you completed a half marathon or a full marathon, or you have traveled to over 30 or 50 countries, or you have raised 3 kids, one of them with a learning disability. Those are examples of results. Now, next you're gonna look at experiences. So what are those experiences that you have overcome in your life? So for instance, maybe you overcame diabetes or high blood pressure. Maybe you grew up in a single parent household and now you're a single parent and you've been able to successfully co-parent your child. Maybe you grew up in a low income household and had no idea about financial literacy, but fast forward to today, you have money in the stock market. These are all experiences. So what are those hard-won things that you might be taking for granted? These obstacles that someone right now is looking for your guidance on. And then the S stands for skills. What skills have you acquired along the way? And this could be from your personal life or your career and full-time job. So this could be data analysis, it could be running ads, it could be meal prep and planning, it could be a workout plan to bulk up, right? Because you did a bodybuilding competition. So I want you to think about different skills. It could even be relationship skills, communication skills, and you're gonna make a list of those skills. Now, I have a Get Paid for Your Gifts guide, and it has an exhaustive list of examples of results, experiences, and skills, and walks you through step by step on creating and uncovering your $1 million story. So I'll make sure I link to that so you can grab that. So let's do an example together, all right? Let's say that I am someone who has just celebrated 10 years of marriage, that's the result, after overcoming infidelity, job loss, or a health crisis, that's the experience. And we now do monthly family planning sessions and practice healthy communication to have a great, solid household. That's the skill. So let's say that that is my $1 million story. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create an offer around it. And this is gonna be a mid-ticket to high-ticket offer. So some examples of what you can name this offer are the Marriage Reset, a 90-day journey to creating a healthy, powerful household. I used our custom AI tool. So inside of our Course from Scratch program, we created custom AI tools to help our students come up with titles for their programs because that was a big sticking point. So if you get our Course from Scratch bundle, and I'll link to that below, it comes with these AI tools for free that you can access. Now what I did is I used our AI tool and I asked it to remix the title in the voices of Beyonce and a few other figures. So I'm gonna read to you what it said that Beyonce would call this program. So it says, the Marriage Reset, a 90-day journey to build a legacy, not just a household. So when I asked it, what would Beyonce do? This is what she would say. But then I also asked it what Kanye West or Ye would call it. He would call it the Marriage Reset, dismantle the blueprint, rewrite the rules, build your empire in 90 days. Then I asked it what Elon Musk would call it. His was the Marriage Reset, optimize emotional systems, recode your relationship, upgrade in 90 days. So notice how Elon's is a little more technical because that's his voice. And lastly, I asked it to say it how Oprah would. So the Marriage Reset, a 90-day journey back to love, wholeness, and the power of two. So you may have mixed feelings about these public figures like I do. However, I like to ask the AI tool, how would you remix the title in their voices? Because there's usually something that I can borrow that I think my customer would be interested in. There's usually something in there that can help me upgrade my offer title. So notice that what we're offering is a 3-month or 90-day program. So this would be a live 3-month coaching program where we would invite couples in, or it could just be the wife or the husband, and they come in for 90 days and we work with them. We work with them to develop what is their dream vision for what their marriage could look like 90 days from now. What does healthy communication look like? How do they hold monthly family planning sessions? What are things they can eliminate right now that are not healthy in their relationships? How can they coordinate on the calendar of their kids and get on the same page about what their vision is, right? Things like that. Those are things that you would be walking them through in this sample program. So I hope that you're thinking about what your $1 million story is and what your mid to high ticket offer could be. And I would love to hear what they are in the comments. So feel free to just put your ugly rough draft down there. No judgment here. We listen and we don't judge. That's the vibe around here. I would love to see what thoughts you have so far on your offer. An easy premium offer that you can start with is a VIP day or a VIP hour. But this is when someone will meet with you one-on-one for an hour or 3 hours or a whole day, and they will pay a premium. They could pay $1,000 or $2,000 to spend that intimate time with you. And in that time, you're just gonna outline how are you gonna get them from point A, where they are, what their pain points are, to point B, where they wanna be. And this is something you can set up on Stan Store. That's where I have mine hosted right now. So I'll put a link if you want to create your own Stan Store, and it'll enable you to set up a calendar scheduler where someone can book time with you and pay all in the same transaction. Again, we are trying to do this so that you have time and creative freedom. I don't want you being bogged down with creating the perfect offer right out of the gate. Now, in addition to having this premium offer, can you also have a low ticket item, a $19, $29, $49 checklist or guide? Absolutely. But my point here is that you should start with the premium offer and then have the low ticket as a supplement. We want to establish ourselves as a premium personal brand in the market. I heard this creator say the other day that we've got about 6 months until AI is taking over our feeds, and I'm already seeing it happen. So the sooner we can establish ourselves as a premium brand and have a very specific $1 million story we are giving in the market, the more we'll be able to stand out as we have all the little AI people in the bots come into our feed. And remember that one of our guidelines on creating your $1 million year is to have fun. So I want you to think about what is something I would have fun and enjoy teaching. So reach back to little you, reach back to all the different versions of you that have existed, and think about what would I be most excited to teach in this next season. No topic is wrong. I have now helped over 10,000 people in my Course from Scratch program. I've now taught my framework to over 100,000 people live because I used to do my webinar every Wednesday for 2 years straight. So I've done it over 100 times. And what I will tell you is after all of that, in addition to working at Udemy, which is the largest online marketplace of online courses, I used to coach people there for over 2 years. What I learned, if there's anything, is that everyone has a $1 million story and everyone has something that you can charge a premium for. There are billions of people on this planet. There is a customer for you, and there is, most importantly, a specific type of customer, and we're gonna get to that next. So after we've done our subtraction of what no longer serves us and we have added a premium offer and our $1 million story, now we need to do some multiplication. The way I was able to make $1 million is that I multiplied. I had what I call a wealth habit. WELLTH. So this is a habit that you repeat on a weekly or daily basis that creates wealth in service of your well-being. So it is not about looking at what everybody and their mama is doing out in the market and being like, well, they're doing that, so I need to do that, and they're doing that, so I need to do that. No. It's about asking yourself, what lights me up? What is a marketing activity that I can do over and over that feels fun for me? Okay, where I can step into my $1 million self. So for me, it was first posting consistently on Instagram. These were in my early days, and I leveraged the power of organic content. And I would create what I call tasty content. So tasty stands for, in your post, you are gonna teach us something, you're gonna provide action steps, you're going to solve an urgent pain point that we have right now, you're going to show us what it looks like to be transformed from point A to point B, and then you're gonna do it in your voice. So use the tasty content framework when you're thinking about content for Instagram, LinkedIn, Threads, X, YouTube, if you're doing long form videos, TikTok, whatever platform you're on, email. I want you to think about how can you make it tasty. Now, when you're doing this content, you wanna speak directly to a specific person. So in our example with the marriage reset, we want to speak directly to wives and husbands who have been through a hardship in their marriage and they're looking to strengthen it again. So ask yourself, who is that person for you? I call it your MVP, your most valuable payer. And they are paying in the ultimate ATM, which is attention, time, and money. So who is that elevated person that you want to be in the virtual room with, on Zoom sessions, coaching, supporting them? Who's gonna be inspiring for you to serve? One key is just take a moment. It could be a quiet evening, you have a cup of tea, a glass of wine, whatever your feel is, or you might be in the shower, you might be on a car ride, and I want you to just spend time with that person. Imagine, who is this person I would love to serve? A lot of my closest friends now started as clients. Like, I have multiple group chats, and I'm realizing a lot of these ladies, they started as my client. And it was because I was very specific. I want to work with women who have done a TEDx talk already. They have already developed an app. They've worked in tech. They are confident. They are compassionate. So beautiful on the inside and out. They're ambitious. They're high achievers, right? So I want you to create that profile of who you would be really excited to be in a room with. Because here's the thing, when you work with these people, they are gonna become your family for life. They're gonna be looking to you for what's next. And then when they make it in their domain, you will get to learn from them and you'll get to partner with them. So think about one wealth habit that you can repeat. So in my previous season, it was posting my content on Instagram, and then I turned it into paid ads, and I would drive traffic to my weekly webinar. So my wealth activity was a weekly live webinar every Wednesday, and on that webinar, I would have people who found me through ads. Now in this season, I'm doing YouTube. So YouTube is the next frontier. It's been the next frontier. I'm actually late to the game, but actually right on time at the same time, you feel me? Right place, right time, right mind. And so YouTube is great because it's long form content and people spend way more time with you, and it's easier to convert them into a mid or high ticket offer. So if you are down for this challenge with me, my challenge for myself is over the next year to have 365 videos on this channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe so that you get the videos. So I want you to ask yourself, where is somewhere I can show up? What can my wealth habit be? And then when you're having conversations with people, I want you to get into the practice of letting them know what you're up to. So for instance, if you belong to a church or a nonprofit organization, or your kids go to school somewhere and you're talking to parents, let them know, I'm so excited. I'm actually gonna be teaching people how in their marriage, in their relationship, if they've overcome a hardship, how do they re-strengthen it? Our marriage is the best it's ever been. We've put in place monthly planning sessions. Our kids are the happiest and most thriving they've ever been. And I'm gonna be coaching a few other couples in my program. And actually, I'm gonna be starting with 5 couples. If you know anyone who is interested in this, just text me. So that's a simple little conversation that you can have with every single person you interact with. You can also text people. So when I was just getting started, I literally opened up my phone and I went one by one and I texted the last people I had texted, and I let them know what I was up to. And I said, I'm gonna be starting this very soon. So just reply if you would be interested in this, or if you know anyone else who'd be interested in learning this. When I ended up doing that exercise, I texted over 90 people. Like, you would be surprised how many people are in your phone, or even if you're on social media, how many people are watching your stories. If you're on YouTube, how many people are commenting on your videos. Those are all your potential most valuable payers. So the sooner you get visible with your tasty content, the sooner you create that premium offer, the sooner you'll be on your way to this $1 million year. All right, so I hope you are excited, revved up, and ready to go. We talked about the math behind your $1 million year and why a mid to high ticket offer is the best way to get there, the fastest way to get there. We also talked about the mindset and how to step into the 10X is easier than 2X. What would $1 million you do? And we subtracted the activities and the stories that are keeping us back from doing that. And then we talked about keeping momentum. How do you keep that momentum? Through the wealth habit that you are gonna repeat, rain or shine. And it comes back to these 3 principles, which is do it ugly, do it often, and do it better. So do it ugly. As I say in my Course from Scratch program, done is better than perfect. So for real, if you not with the makeup and the perfect background and the perfect mic and the perfect setup, that's me. Do it anyway, do it ugly, because the most important thing is your message. And then do it better. Upgrade your offer, upgrade who you are serving and showing up as, and then do it often. Stick to that wealth habit. Whatever you're gonna be doing on a daily or weekly basis, I want you to do it and track it and keep showing up. How can you show up as the $1 million version of yourself, knowing you have a $1 million story and you are here to serve the people? All right, so let me know in the comments what you are thinking for your offer and your $1 million year, and I'll see you in the next video.